I was bald, and I had a really weird sort of suntan because of wearing a wig. So my face had sun, but my head was white. And I don't know how possibly have ever seen me as the character. Um, but yeah, that first conversation I had with him, I said, "When are you starting?" And he's like, "January." And I go, "It's about 3 months,
To lose 35 pounds.
Yeah, and fine muscles. you know? So the first thing I did was I went back home and I went on a motorcycle ride for about 10 days. And I sent a guy ahead of me in a van with a cooker. So wherever I decided I was going to stop that night or whatever, I could only eat his food, and it was just really, really basic, just sort of salads and beans and stuff like that, It's changed so much over time, the knowledge we have in nutrition and everything. Back then you pretty much, you're working off some really dodgy information. Like at one point in my life, everybody was told, the Mediterranean diet is the key. So eat pasta every day, just like the Italians do. Cut to a whole bunch of big people. The thing being is the food production process is not the same necessarily in other countries outside of Italy, Italy or France or whatever. The food production methods that are like artisan. That have been used for a long, long time, and pretty much most of the places you go, that food hasn't necessarily been affected in the same way as it might in a more westernized country like America, like Australia. We borrowed your food production methods, so we've got corn syrup up the chassis and everything now, as well. So
New wheat.
Yeah. But yeah, so I had 3 months to get ready, and that's I don't think when we started, I don't think I was ready. But by the time we were halfway through the film and my shirt's coming off and all that sort of stuff, I had enough time and enough focus on it to get it to a certain place.
So did you have to train while filming?
Yeah, constantly. Because it was I mean, training in that, at the top of the third tier of the Colosseum, there's a room that's got gym gear in it, or you're in the middle of the desert and there's an extra tent, and the tent is a gymnasium. And I had to sort of share the space with a whole bunch of gladiators, a whole bunch of guys desperate to work out and everything. So I just let everybody use the space as well, just on the proviso. If I'm coming in, I've got 15 minutes between things and I need to be on the bench, just give us the fucking bench.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, cool. So it was quite a good collaboration with all those guys.
Wow. Had you ever wielded a sword before? Did you have to learn how to do all those moves?
Yeah. I took it upon myself because I didn't get to go to drama school. I just started working. I was working, as I said, in clubs and stuff like that when I started moving into doing more acting stuff. So I was born in New Zealand. I moved to Australia when I was 4. Moved back to New Zealand with my parents when I was 14. Then at 21, I moved back to Australia by myself because I considered Australia to be my home. I'd lived there between 4 and 14. It's your formative years, I never felt like New Zealand, even though it was the land of my birth, it was really home. So I went back to where I felt comfortable. And I went back with the idea that, I've been doing all these clubs and bands and stuff like that, but I'm going to sort of change the priority. I'm going to focus more on acting and put the music, underneath it. And one of the things that I planned on doing was working enough, saving money to then go to night at the National Institute of Dramatic Art and get a piece of paper that says I know how to do my job. Right? So the year was 88, I think. I'd been in Australia for a couple of years by then. I had an agent, things were going really, really well. Solid work, being able to save money. And I was doing a show at this theatre, and a guy called Bruce Appleball, who had been my brother's biology teacher in high school, but who had become a friend of one of my uncles. And he came to see the show, and he came backstage. And at that point, he was the technical director for the National Institute of Dramatic Art. So he said, "So what's your plan?" And I said, "Well, you know, I've got the money in the bank. I'm auditioning for either in October or whenever it was. And, you know, you're just, what? You're going to go to drama school. I said, yeah, I want to. So he goes, I walked into this theater tonight. As I walked into the theater, there's a banner that says the name of the show. Above the name of the show is your name. It's too late for you to go to drama school. You already do what you're supposed to learn at drama school. The only thing that you'll pick up is bad habits. So in that one conversation, this dream I'd harbored for about 4 or 5 years just disappeared, you know. But it was absolutely the right advice for me to receive at that time. It would have been probably a big waste of my time to go into a drama school situation at that point.
Acting is one of the strange things that some people have an ability to do. Like, there's athletes that have gone into films that, you know, just play an athlete in a film and do a fucking amazing job. Like, was it, who was in Uncut Gems? Was it Kevin Durant? No. Kevin Garnett? Amazing. Amazing. He plays a professional basketball player. He is a professional basketball player.
But there's that thing, right? There's a simple thing to understand that you're just going to inhabit the character.
Yeah.
You know? And you kind of operate yourself a little bit like a puppet master emotionally or whatever, you know. And as you're saying, some people can just accept that.
Yeah.
And they're fine with it. Other people find it very hard, and they they put a performance on which does not being driven from inside. And they feel it. They're doing something that they've constructed that they think, oh, people will think I'm that guy if I do this thing over here. But they're not actually experiencing what the character is experiencing. Therefore, it's not coming across as real.
Right. It doesn't resonate.
Yeah.
It doesn't, whatever it is. And you see it sometimes. Like, you'll see one actor stand back, like, oh, he's faking it.
Right.
Yeah, that takes you out of it.
But just like the same way, you see the opposite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Turns his head, you go, oh, I'm that guy. That guy's, you know, he's
Mm-hmm.
fantastic.
But when you're doing a character, a Chris Braddock, the gentleman from the insider, you're playing an actual human being, that must come with enough. It's another level of responsibility, right? Because you have, especially the insider, because that was the first film where I had saw that kind of changed my perspective on things. It made me openly consider the idea that a corporation would have someone assassinated if they're going to affect their business. And I saw that movie. I remember seeing that movie and going, Jesus Christ. And it took me down a rabbit hole of reading about the history of the tobacco industry and lobbyists, what they had done to try to obscure the fact that it was causing cancer and addicting people and all the chemicals they put into those things. You're playing a guy who risked his life to tell us, to let everybody else know, hey, there's some nefarious forces involved in this business. It's not as simple as they're just selling cigarettes. They're doing some shit.
Yeah, like the responsibility is the right word. You know, that experience I was sharing with you, where I sat in front of him and I asked him some tough questions. I could push the button emotionally.
What was it about?
I could see he was still affected by it. You know, it was about his family and the question you mean.
Yeah.
It was about the effect of the situation on his family. And that took him to a place, and I could see him just get, you know, emotional. I realized he still, all these years later, is carrying this around. You know, it was a big thing for him to do. As you said, he risked everything in his life, risked his professional reputation, the health and safety of his family, you know, to put that information in front of us. The weird thing for me about all of that is that this legal loophole kind of situation you get into where if you admit something is unsafe, then you're liable for the fact that you peddled something that was unsafe. Because there's a whole lot of things that you can do to make these less potent in terms of how they damage you. You know, you can take out chemicals, you can return the tobacco to its more natural state, you know, but we don't do any of that because that would be admitting that it's an unsafe product. And it opens up a whole bunch of more legal bullshit. But, you know, it's a funny thing. I don't want to be an advocate for cigarette smoking, but there are you know, there is a long, long history of us and, you know, wanting to smoke things. You know?
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of great work that was written on nicotine.
Right.
A lot.
Every major mathematician, every major scientist, they all smoke.
Mm-hmm.
There is something in that nicotine opening neural pathways that they might not have access to normally.
I think it's the delivery method too, because there's different ways of doing it. There's pouches, but there's a very different thing that happens when you smoke it.
Right.
Yeah. But all my friends that can't quit cigarettes say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it's a different thing. Like they need you.
I use Red Man Plug on long haul flights.
Yeah.
That's how much of a nicotine addict I am, mate. I got chewing tobacco on that.
I got a great Norm Macdonald story. Norm Macdonald and I, just by luck, sat next to each other on flights on 2 different occasions. Just total dumb luck. Norm's like, Norm, what's up? We're talking. He's telling I quit smoking. He's telling me this whole thing about I quit smoking. Yeah, it was terrible. It was the hardest thing I ever had to get. Yeah, I love smoking, but you know what? It's fucking terrible for you. I had to quit. So tell him about this. The moment we land, he runs into the gift shop and buys a pack of cigarettes, and he's lighting them before he goes. I go, what are you doing? I thought you quit. He goes, yeah, I did, but then we started talking about it. I wanted a cigarette. He's lighting it before he even gets out the door. He just couldn't wait to get it back in him.
Well, here's the funny thing, though, right, with somebody sort of said to me once, which, and it's a true thing, it's like, you know, when you haven't had a cigarette for a while and you get a craving, right? That's all you have to deal with.
Right. Right. At that moment. Yeah.
It's not like other things that might get deeper and harder and more difficult or whatever. It's only ever going to be that craving. So you just have to sort of walk past it.
But also to satisfy that craving, when you do satisfy that craving, it's an immediate release of one of the most pressing physical things that's bothering you. The most pressing physical thing that's bothering you is you want a cigarette.
In the times that I've tried to give up, what I've found is that my brain doesn't work the way I want it to work.
Right.
I find it quite hard to make decisions. And so it's sort of like I've had experiences where, you know, for an extended period of time, I'm in this battle of trying to completely get rid of it out of my life. But all of these other things are being negatively affected because I'm not making decisions. My businesses are starting to wobble. My bank account's not looking good, you know. And so I just go, fuck it, get everything back in line.
Well, it's a significant nootropic. You know, it really is. It does affect, in a very positive way, cognitive performance. Yeah, and it's undeniable.
Yeah, well, as you said in that film, it breaks through that blood-brain barrier. That's why it's so addictive and so hard.
Yeah, and why it's so effective too. It's just too bad it's terrible for you.
Yeah, and I'm feeling it, man. At the age of 60, having smoked since I was a kid, 100%. No, it's like it's a short course for me.
When you were playing Braddock, did you smoke all through the training?
I smoked in the ring. Right? These photographs, I had a guy, because you can't take your gloves off on. Right. And so I used to just go over the corner, you'd stick it on that one. Wow.
You know?
But then we developed a set of gloves that were Velcro. So they had the laces at the outside, but they're actually Velcro. I could get them out so I could have a cigarette.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, not constantly, but we'd be, you know, you're doing a shooting day in the ring. You're in the ring all fucking day. You know? So you're going to be in the ring doing boxing stuff for 12 hours. So when we started that film, Ron Howard's idea was to do the first 35 days of boxing and then do the scenes afterwards. But after we did the first fight, you know, it took 6 or 7 days, you know, I said, you've got to rethink that. You know, I'm rehabbing from the shoulder 35 days in a row. It's like, it's going to break down. Right. We have to. So we redid the schedule and we cycled back into the boxing. So I'd box Mondays and Tuesdays. And then basically Wednesday would be off physically. And then I would start the prep gearing up for the next boxing day. You know? And what was good about it is that it kept me in shape through the whole shoot. You know, if we'd done 35 days of boxing and stopped, and then done another 30 shooting days where I didn't have to box. James Jack Braddock would have changed shape through the course of the film. It was because I was cycling back into the boxing that I stayed in shape and kept improving, because we had gaps in between, so I'd learn a little bit more from Angela or whatever and would be able to adjust something. So it was a really good choice to make because it made, and it was because of doing that Ron was able to clearly see we need another gear change between now and the championship, and that's when we came up with the idea. Well, the only way we can have a gear change is if we just do it for real, Wow. But when I did the real fight, I did it with fellow Troy. He was a really lovely, great boxer, great athlete, incredible on the ropes, on the skiing rope, just superior. I did it with him because I wanted the challenge of doing it. If we're going to do it for real, I want to do it with him. And we were chasing each other around that ring. It was an incredible experience, but I wasn't. It's just that thing. Is like he's a good, solid guy, and I know he was never going to kill me.
Right.
There was a couple of blokes in that cast. Yeah. If he gets the opportunity, he's too feral. He'll just take my head off. If I give him half a freaking break, he'll just,
Yep, there's guys like that out there.
Yeah.
Did you have any experience boxing as a young man?
A little bit. I did martial arts when I was a kid. So I started off with karate, Budokan. I would have started that when I was 12. Then I did Zendakai. And then I did like a street martial art thing as well. And I'd get to kind of halfway up the belt ladder and then I'd move on to something else. But it's funny because all of that training comes into play later on in my life. And funnily enough, I always say that it's actually my musical theatre background and dance routines that make my fight sequences so sharp. Because it's sort of like you're working with a rhythm, and if you're working with a camera, the camera's trying to catch something. If you have that rhythm, then you can display the stuff that sure on camera to capture the audience. But it's a lot of people think I'm joking when I say it, but it's for real.
Are you aware of Vasily Lomachenko?
No.
He's a Ukrainian boxer. He's one of the best fighters in the world. Yeah, he beat Campos from Australia. He was also an elite fighter, but he was trained by his father from the time he was very young. His father made him take 2 years off of boxing to learn Ukrainian dance to help his footwork. And he has the greatest footwork of all time. His footwork is impeccable. You have to pull up just a highlight of the way this guy moves, because it's so bizarre. He moves differently than any other boxer on the planet, and he's by far. He has the best footwork and the most elusive. He cuts angles and does movement and misdirects in a way that no one else does.
Budokan to start with, then I did Surdor, which is a kung fu.
Okay.
And then I did Zubuka after that, which is more of a street fighting, which is headbutts.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like, it's a
like a crop gun type deal.
Yeah. It's like this short and sweet.
Yeah.
Just, get it done. Yeah. Who's your favorite boxer?
Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know if there is a one. This is Lomachenko. Just watch how this guy moves. Like look at that. That footwork is fucking insane. There's no one like him. So elusive, and the punches come from angles that you don't expect them to come from, and he's moved up multiple weight classes. I think he's the quickest man to ever win. I mean, he had an unbelievable amateur record. I think he's the quickest man to ever win a world title. I think he won a world title in 4 bouts. Incredible.
Yeah. I used to love watching Suzuki.
Oh, yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah. And his son, he's got 2 boys, and they're both incomers at the moment.
Yep. Yeah.
Tim just lost for the first time.
Yeah, watch that.
Nikita.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy fight. The Campos was murderous puncher. Yeah.
He knocked out Zach Judah one time.
I remember that.
Oh my God, I've never seen that happen before.
Yeah, that was when Zach Judah was Zach Judah. He was.
And everybody was counting down how many seconds is it going to take for him to end Costas' life.
Yeah.
didn't happen.
Well, he was so slick and so elusive himself, and Suzuki planted one on. Well, he planted a couple on him, but one big one really rocked him. And he had that little rat tail. That was his thing.
Well, that's the thing with Foster. I think he had nearly 300 fights or something. To start with.
He did the consequences of him hitting you. He was just such a murderous puncher that even if a guy was slick, it was just you needed to make one mistake. Boom, there it is. And he got up and his legs were just complete rubber.
That's the only time I've ever seen that, the boxing.
Well, he made a mistake there. He should have just stayed down. It was his ego that made him jump up to his feet. He should have taken the knee, wait to the count of 8, rose.
Play that back again. He's got that one big right. And it's a 2-punch combination that really puts him into that situation. Right?
Yeah.
Bang there.
1, 2, that hurt him. And bam, that's the big one. Yeah, see, if he just stayed down, probably would have got his legs back.
Just by then.
Yeah, exactly. But who knows? We got caught down. That's the tricky thing about boxing. So,
I was at Suzuki Hatton fight then. Another mate who was a lawyer said you have to be careful with befriending boxers because there will be that time when it's just all over.
Yep.
And it was in Manchester, and Hatton was jacked, man. His body was chiseled in a way I'd never seen his body before. And, from my perspective, it looked like he was, laying in some shots under the belt, But in an audience like that in Manchester, which was all about Ricky, they're all for him. He didn't have a lot of dissenting voices. But I was in the dressing room holding Costa over a bucket while he pissed blood for about 20 minutes. I was like, and it was like really made me understand what the boxing world was, what it really is.
Yeah, it's every one of those takes something away from that fighter forever. They'll never be exactly the same.
So I don't think he fought again.
Yeah.
Had that big, long, storied career and multiple world championships and all the things that he achieved. And then, he just knew that was the end of that for him.
Well, good for him for recognizing that. That's one of the hardest things for fighters to recognize when it's over because their entire identity is based on this one thing that they do. And then who am I if I don't do that thing? And your whole life from the time you're young.
Sports people, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think for fighters, it's more difficult.
Oh, it's much more intense to fight, for sure.
It's also you have to have this ridiculous belief in yourself that you're the best of all the elites out there. You're the number one. You're the guy that can get it done. Yeah. Ricky Hatton in his prime was a bad man.
Yeah, he was great.
Oh, he was a mauler. Just so hard nosed. Just come at you. Just, which is why some of his losses, the Floyd Mayweather one example, it just shows how great Floyd was. Right, he was able to weather that and figure out the openings. And then Manny Pacquiao after that.
Pacquiao, what a fight.
He just fought again. He just had an exhibition fight in Japan. Just ridiculous. It didn't look that good.
I used to like watching Oscar De La Hoya.
He's off the reservation now, though. See what he posted on his Instagram today? Him and his girlfriend in their underwear dancing around. It looks like he's on a pound of cocaine. He's got a jock strap on. He's bouncing his hip around. She's bouncing her ass right. It's something that if somebody else filmed, be like, don't post it.
Right.
Do not post it. Meanwhile, he put it on his own fucking account. You got it then? It's been taken down.
Just having a similar.
What do you mean? He took it down? When I look for it, it's scrubbed from Instagram. So I found it. Well, that's it in the corner. In the right-hand corner, you can see with the two of us doing. So she's dancing. Well, they're blurring him out because he has like some little G-string around where his dingling was bouncing around. She's shaking her enhanced ass. The whole thing is just, what drugs?
Jasmine needs to go and do some Ukrainian folk dance lessons.
Yeah, it's not the best footwork. His prime, the guy who moves like a butterfly. Things have changed. It was an amazing fight. Right, absolutely. Unfortunately, it's overshadowed by activity like we just witnessed.
And what do you think of this Jake Paul fellow?
I always say Jake Paul was a YouTube star. If people just looked at him like an up-and-coming boxer, you would say this kid's got a lot of fucking talent. He's dangerous. He's dangerous. I think his strength is that people, for whatever stupid reasons, they underestimate him because of what his background was. And they think there's no way that some guy who became famous off of YouTube is going to be an actual legit boxer. If you look at what he's done, the time that he's put into it, and the ability that he has, just the sheer ability, he's a very good boxer.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. He seems to treat his body the right way.
Yeah. Trains hard. I mean, I've watched a lot of his training footage. I've watched a lot of all of his fights. He can fight.
What do you think of the thing with Mike, though?
58 is 58.
Yeah.
No matter what you're taking and what you're doing for you, and you're still 58. But 58-year-old Mike Tyson is not 50-year-old Mike Jones who lives down the street. It's a different kind of human being. He still can knock your fucking head into another dimension if he can catch you.
Yeah.
The thing is, can he catch a 28-year-old guy who's at the top of his career, who's winning legitimate boxing matches? He's beating former UFC world champions like Tyron Woodley. You know, he had that very good fight with Tommy Fury, who's a legitimate boxer, you know, which was a very good fight. You know, he just beat up Mike Perry, who's a bare knuckle champion. He's a real fighter. He can fight. And if Mike Tyson and him are fighting, and Mike can't catch him, and Mike his back, his back's bad. Yeah, I don't know what's going on physically. It's hard to tell when a guy just hitting pads. When he's hitting those pads, it's great. Like, yeah, if he can do that, if he can actually do that for 8 rounds or 10 rounds, or what his fight is, well, that's going to be the key. Yeah, can he do that? I don't know if he can do that. I mean, he had to pull out the first one because he had an ulcer. Right. So it's, you know.
The thing is, I was quite enjoying the second phase of Mike's life. You know, it was terrifying as a boxer. Terrifying. You know? Even when I met him at one point backstage of the stadium at the fight, and I was like, still terrified of you from watching you, you know. But then that guy started becoming where he became more explorative and he was looking into what, you know, the meaning of life and, you know, having a smoke every now and then and stuff like that, you know. I was like, I'm enjoying this, Mike. You know, I'm liking the evolution. You know, what bothers me with this whole thing is that he's got to kind of, you know, slide back to that worry, you know, and I'm just not sure he needs to do it. You know?
Yeah. He's the reason why this table's so wide.
What's that?
Because I was going to make the table more narrow and be closer to the guests. I had him on once when he was retired. He was much heavier, and he was smoking a lot of weed, and he was contemplative and, you know, interesting and philosophical, just a fun guy to hang out. And then I had him on again. He was about to fight Roy Jones Jr., and he had lost about 60 pounds. He looked shredded. He had muscles bulging in his arms. He was very intense. Right? It was like a completely different human being. And he was terrifying. The room was fucking terrifying. And I said, you know what? This table needs to be a little wider.
That was none of me.
Yeah, I just don't want to be that close to him. He's fucking scares me. Like, I felt his energy. It was a different. And even Jamie said it after he left. Jamie was like, that's a totally different person. Because Jamie was here for the first one. The second one, he was so fired up. He had reignited that thing inside of him that existed when he was the best in the world. Yeah. And that force that caused him to try to achieve greatness was back. And he was fit. He was, you know, he's in the middle of training, and he was all in on this Roy Jones Jr. fight. And now
I just hope for the both of them that it transcends the sort of circus type atmosphere that's around it. You know?
Yeah.
It's a legit fight, and both do well. Nobody gets hurt.
That would be nice, but it's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be one of two things. It's either going to be Jake Paul's going to find out that 58-year-old Mike Tyson is still a motherfucker, or we're going to find out that 58-year-old men are 58-year-old men, no matter what they look like. And Jake Paul is a 28-year-old athlete in the prime of his life. You know, it's a real.
I mean, if you just do it to yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know, me at 60 versus me at 28.
Right. Yeah, it's a different thing. Yeah. Yeah, so there's accumulation of injuries that everyone's having. Yeah, it's just no avoiding. I do want to get you in. I guarantee stem cells will help that.
Right.
I've had tremendous success with stem cells.
Right. In your shoulder joint.
Yeah. I was told by a doctor that I was going to have shoulder surgery. He said, well, you did all of these exercises, you pushed down on it, and I did an MRI. It's like so torn. He goes, you could try to rehabilitate. No, it was a little bit of labrum, but it was I had a full length rotator cuff tear. Okay. And he's like, it's going to have to be repaired. So I had another guy in Vegas, this guy, Dr. Roddy McGee, and he's like, let's try stem cells. And he was doing them for the UFC. And, they can do some pretty potent stuff. This is before some of the new regulations have come into place that they're constantly trying to regulate this stuff because it's very effective. Well, I went in, he shot me up, I took it easy on it, I did rehab. I started doing all these bands. I used these crossover symmetry bands, and I started doing all these exercises to build my shoulders back up. And then I started feeling pretty good, and I started working out again, being real careful. Since I feel pain, I'm going to stop. I went back to it 6 months ago at MRI. He said it was the most extraordinary thing he's ever seen. He said the tear is gone. He said I've never seen this before. Because I've never seen this. All my years being orthopedic surgeon, I've never seen a tear in a rotator cuff completely disappear.
Well, what's happened to mine now is that it's full of arthritis, So if they were going to repair it now, they've got to cut it. They've got to pop the bone off, shave the top, get the head off, cut off, put, plastic.
Yeah. Don't do that yet.
11 months rehab.
Yeah, don't do that yet. Don't do that yet. This is why I don't do that yet, because there's breakthroughs right now where they're regenerating cartilage. There's several studies. I believe one of them is from Australia, and another one, my friend Brigham, who runs Waste Well, I actually sent this to him. I'll send this to you, Jamie. But it is a new study that came out that's showing that they're able to regenerate cartilage tissue. And this is very, very promising. When they're able to do this kind of stuff now, if you just hang in there, for just a year or so, I guarantee you they're going to be implementing this stuff on people.
I've got cartilage in big toes, no cartilage left, because of all the sports I used to do, lateral turf toe, but also, sometimes things goes wrong in a stunt, and you got to stop or you die. So
this is it. Insulin like factor 1 getting articular cartilage repaired for osteoarthritis treatment. So they're able to do this signaling pathway that's been indicated in articular cartilage repair. IGF-1 is a member of the family of growth factors, structurally closely related to pro-insulin chondrocyte proliferation, enhance matrix production, and inhibit catabolism. Moreover, we discussed the potential role of IGF in OA treatment. Of note, we summarized the recent progress on IGF delivery systems. Optimization of IGF delivery systems can facilitate treatment application in cartilage repair and improve OA treatment efficacy. So there's this, and there's another one that's in Australia where they're using it on sheep right now, and they're going to regrow cartilage on sheep, and they're about to begin human trials on that as well. Here discovering animal models into new human therapies. So this is the next stage, right? Because right now there's nothing they can do about cartilage. What stem cells have been really effective at is tissue injuries, tendon repair, those lines, and a lot of neurological disorders that people have, especially IV versions. They've done a lot with Dr. Neil Reardon in Panama. Great results with that, and great results. Mel Gibson talked about his experiences with that, and his father. His father was in a wheelchair when he was 80. 10 years later, at 90, he was walking around. And this is after stem cell. They can do some pretty extraordinary stuff, especially outside of the country, because outside of America has the FDA, and the FDA is very strict on this stuff. But if you go to Tijuana, there's a place called the Civilian Performance Institute. They send a lot of UFC fighters down there. They had amazing. They're shooting them in discs and growing disc tissue on people that have disc generation issues. It's just, we're really close. We're real close to being able to regenerate all kinds of stuff. You just got to kind of hang in there. Hang in there. But I guarantee what the stem cells can do is help heal what can heal in that area, reduce inflammation, give you more range of motion, and give you much more pain-free experience.
Because I got that situation on my toes. Right? I've got grade 4 tears in both Achilles. I've got shin splints. I've got bone marrow edemas under both knees.
Jesus.
I've got one disintegrating hip.
Oh boy.
I don't know exactly what all that was from.
What movie?
Gladiator.
Of course.
And then you go on my back. I've got ribs that pop off. You know, both shoulders are shit, but the left one is particularly shit. And it's like, you know, like if you were on this tour, you've been traveling at 35,000 kilometers or something on this tour. And, you know, sometimes it's in a plane, but other times it's in a, hopefully a bus, but most of the time just a car or one who are traveling around in a pet transport van.
You do it all.
Yeah, well, the thing is that the band generate cash like a day job.
Right.
I've got to work to have what the band do.
Right,
So,
right.
Definitely makes it a little more difficult for sure. You know,
But it's also real. You're doing like a real touring band. Yeah.
lining up funky little airports.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most of the flights have been, you know, once the tour has begun, have been, you know, economy flights. So,
Well, I'm going to try to get you in the morning before you take your flight out. I bet I can. Yeah, I'm 99%.
they can just go bing bang right
Yeah,
now.
they'll just start injecting you in the morning. They'll give you an IV or stem cells, inject them into the areas that hurt. Yeah, it'll help you. Guaranteed it'll help. You know, it sounds like your shit is pretty tough, but
Yeah.
like I said, hang in there. This shit's coming.
So I'm kind of probably doesn't try to continue, but I'm actually in the process of 10 years of allowing myself to be in a certain shape, playing all sorts of roles. But my Nuremberg in April or so, I just like, okay, that decade's over. I'm going to go back the other way. So it's 126 kilos. And I came off Nuremberg. I'm currently 112 and a half.
Nice.
Slowly. You know.
That's the right way to do it.
What I'm looking forward to is that all the guys that have been years my junior who are going, mate, you fucking like this. Go, haven't you? You know? Okay, whatever. I'm going to just be passing them up the escalator as I go down. Enjoying yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel, even if I start working, which is something that's also in the back of my mind, if I'm going to spend more time for myself and not working, I want to be in a particular place, you know, so I can enjoy the business.
Sure. Yeah. Just physically, you'll feel a lot better just moving around.
But it has been a very interesting decade, you know, and it's funny in my business how much it can affect your friendships with your friends.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, for sure.
In what way?
Just do stuff calling you and stuff.
They stop calling you? Do you read?
Sure.
Really? Oh, those aren't real friends.
It's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's been the process of
Elimination.
just cleaning a few things out.
How does it work?
Yeah. I don't know who I'll get to, but in my mind, I'm aiming for about 100, 400.
Nice. You'll get there. Come on,
Yeah, well,
man.
that should be relatively easy.
Yeah.
You know? But for me, fighting was 80 kilos.
Mm.
That's, you know,
Can you get there?
I don't think so.
Why not? I bet you can.
Well, just the thing is, I can't do all the damage. It's what I used to do. It's just outrun it. You know,
Right.
You got to go through a period of abusing yourself and then outrun it.
Uh-huh.
I simply can't do that. You know, it's hard. Years of, abuse.
Can you use an airdyne? An airdyne pump?
Yeah, I've got.
Yeah, those are the shit. Those I did that stupid thing today. That's
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to do is actually make the adjustments without it on, Olympic level physical preparation. I'm just trying to bring it down purely through diet. And the fact that I'm using weight on a tour like this, where you can't have consistency in the way you can exercise and the food that's available to you, 2 o'clock in the morning after you finish the gig is pretty airy. The fact that I've actually still been able to come down is amazing. I've never been on a tour with a band in my life, and I've been doing this stuff since the early 80s and lost weight. You go on tour, you gain weight. That's what happens. So it's been pretty. I'm really looking forward to being back on the farm where I can be consistent and add a little sort of consistent exercise to it. So,
I don't know what the rules in Australia are for peptides. Do you know what kind of regulations they have there?
I'm pretty sure that they're available, but you can't use it in a professional sense, which doesn't affect my job. But sports people can't use it.
Right. Sports people can't use them here either, unfortunately. All they do is help heal, especially things like PPC 157. They just help heal injuries. And they've recently banned that here for some fucking stupid reason. None of it makes any sense. What you can, but it has not shown any adverse side effects. But then you go through this insane process to get it legalized that takes forever and costs insane amounts of money. And that's what they're eating at right now. But peptides can do tremendously. Tremendous. Helps you heal, helps your body regenerate tissue, helps you lose weight. It can help you in a lot of ways. Yeah, there's a lot of different things you do, but I'll connect you with these Ways to Well people. They can help you a lot. And also, just eat nothing but steak. Eat all your steaks. Get on a carnivore diet. High protein, low carbs. You just lose weight quick like that anyway. So your body's like easily satisfied. But if you're only eating protein, you only eat so much, then you're done. Your body knows how to regulate exactly what you have, and also that you'll be in a state of ketosis.
Yeah.
A lot of
now that I've made the decision, it's quite interesting what's happening to my just the food intake. Yesterday I was eating a steak. I was really enjoying it, but I didn't finish it. I got to a certain point when actually I'm good.
Yeah.
So it's just a funny thing, we talked before about the power of the imagination or whatever. I've now made the decision that I'm going the other way.
Yeah.
And, as long as I'm, clear about that decision, then the things just, you just start to fold in under what the decision you've made.
Right. Yeah, you move into that direction. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just sort of taking the attitude. I'm not slavishly weighing myself every day. I'm not, there's nothing, it's not schedule specific, which has been so much of my life. For a thing that happens on a certain date, you've got X amount of time to get to that place. I'm really taking it on board as a decision I purely made for my own reasons, and that is, when it's summertime, I like taking my shirt off by the pool,
Right.
So it's like, all right, I've had 10 years without doing that, so now I'm going back to it.
Do you, what exercise can you do that doesn't hurt?
Oddly enough, and I would never have thought this. I know it doesn't seem logical, but when I got to a point with my Achilles, it was affecting everything that I was doing. And they set me up. I did, blood injections, platelet-rich injections, did all that stuff. And then you bang yourself with painkillers because it's such a heavy hit to do that sort of thing, particularly with the Achilles, and the moon boot and all that. It just wasn't working, man. I was doing the rehab exercises, and I could feel with the rehab exercises that they were re-damaging the area. They weren't making it better, So I kind of said to the guy that I was working with, it's just like, I gotta stop, because every time I see you, then I limp the next day, But if I don't do the exercises, after a certain amount of time, the limp gets less. So I have to come up with some other way of doing it. He said I was crazy at the time or whatever. Then I started going out with a girl who loves playing tennis. I used to like playing tennis when I was younger, so cool, let's play tennis. How romance is based on the fact that at the first time I played tennis, I couldn't beat her. Okay. Now I got to keep you around. Play you enough times till I work out how to grind you into the dirt, young lady. And now here's the thing with tennis, with short bursts of rain, right? And it's sort of like it's not constant, like 10Ks on a treadmill or out on the road. It's just a short burst of rain, right? And then you've got a minute where you sort of gather yourself together. You get a break between games or whatever, and another burst of rain, another burst of rain. I seem to have rehabbed my Achilles by playing tennis.
Wow. That would be the last thing I would suggest. I would think that screening would be the recipe for disaster.
But because it's like a momentary movement. But in tennis, if you're getting the ball, use 100% of yourself. You know, you're going for that ball and it's all in, but it's 3 or 4 steps, you know, and then you have a sort of like a little bit of a break, or then the next shot you don't have to put so much effort into it. And it just seems to, you know, I had years and years now, and I'm talking about from 98 years, right? So that's through all those. We're talking about like Gladiator, like Marshall Commander, like Cinderella Man, Noah, whatever. The problem with Achilles is always present, you know. But since in the last 5 years, it's gone away. I don't think about it every day, and I walk without it.
Wow.
Just tennis.
I wonder how much there is the same thing, like the direction. You made this direction to beat this woman at tennis. You go, you're good at tennis, your mind is saying, all right, you can fix this fucking problem. Right.
I'm going to need those.
Yeah, we're going to need those. We need to fire up all the resources.
It could be also due to those platelet-rich injections and stuff that they were doing in the timeline that they were considering to be the right timeline is correct. The timeline is in fact a lot longer, perhaps.
Yeah.
And you know, I think if you look at the tennis thing, it actually recreates the rehab exercises. Sure, you're not doing 5 sets of 10.
Right.
You're doing a little bit, and then the next day you might do that same thing again or whatever, you know. But it's not wearing it down at the same time. And that's what I found with the rehab exercises, that I felt fatigued. As I said, I think that I was re-injured. You know, they would stretch to a certain point. That's good. Then you do that one set of them, and at the end you feel that little click again, and you know that it's reformed. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like limited plyometrics to the blood. You know, it does make sense. But it's funny that's the thing that got you healthy.
That is crazy, right?
Yeah, so opposite. I think anybody would recommend.
It doesn't seem to have logic, but here it is, you know, sort of, and you know, I've riding bicycles again now and everything because just the point and the pain. You know, if you went on a mountain bike for 15 or 20 k's, just white hot in the back of my head. You know? Yeah. But now I'm enjoying it again and I'm having fun with it. So, you know, it's cool.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So, love.
Yeah, love. And the ability to decide that you will treat this person.
Yeah. And I do like there was one time I indoors on the practice course they had for going 6 Love, and I never let her forget it. She still beat me quite regularly, but I do have that one pure moment of victory that I recall for her.
That's hilarious. The motivation. It's interesting how motivation is such a massive factor in success. Like, what are you actually enthusiastic about? It's a line that your body through when you made a decision like that.
Have you got kids?
Yeah.
What are their ages?
I have a 28-year-old, I have a 16-year-old, and a 15-year-old. Yeah.
And that you keep being a dad. I mean,
I love it.
question.
Yeah, I love it. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre indication of who you are as a human being and the reflection you have.
That's possibly that greatest privilege.
Yeah. I used to think differently about it. I used to think that everybody should. When I first started having kids, I felt like everybody should have kids. I don't think that now anymore, but I think that for me, it's been one of the most impactful and powerful things ever in my life. It's changed me as a human being in so many different ways. Dave Chappelle is a great phrase that I always repeat. He said, not only did it increase the amount of love I have, it increased my capacity for love. For me, it also made me interesting when I think about people. Because I used to think if I met a guy and he was 50 years old, that's a 50-year-old guy. Now I mean, I used to be a kid. I used to be a little kid. I think of the whole path. You know, I never used to do that.
Well, I'm at that place now where my eldest is at university and my youngest is about to finish high school. It's just, you know, it's amazing. We had a funky life in that, you know, there was divorce involved and things like that, so we haven't always been together, you know. But basically say they're my two favorite people to spend time with in the world, and the things that we can do now, with this little head that was nothing but just a bundle of blankets. I can now have these incredible discussions with. My eldest went into university to do an arts degree, right? Didn't find it challenging. So we had a discussion, just flipped his degree, and he's now doing Latin and ancient Greek. Whoa, yeah. And I'm like, that's a big change. And he's like, well, I just worked out how to make the education system work for me. And I'm like, this guy, wow, so impressive, And it's like, I remember the first time he said a word, and now he has the intellectual capacity to realize that, this is a moment in his life if he grabs what he can in terms of education. And he's looked at Latin and Greek. He's like, if I can nail Latin and Greek, every language is available to me. So it's like, it's just, I mean, to sit back and be impressed with your kids.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And look, I think they're both really creative, but the navigation aspect, how you help your children navigate the world.
Don't know too much.
Yeah, but how do you explain some of the bullshit that goes on politically and stuff? Because I remember being extremely idealistic when I was like, my teen years and very politically focused. And I just got to a point where I was like, everyone's a bullshit artist. Yeah. There's not one of these guys that I can really say that, I follow into battle. So I'll just stop worrying about politics and go into something else, But you see the same processes going on with them. They're trying to reach out to them to believe in, and somebody that they believed in, that has a policy or whatever that, is completely abhorrent to the way of thinking, so you can see them have to come to grips with. It's very hard to find a hero.
Yeah.
Particularly in that world.
Particularly in that world. But that world is set up for fools. So it's set up for...
Well, I don't know who said it first, but it was used in Andrew Logo, the Tim Rice musical where he said, politics is the art of the possible. So it's not, not really connected to anything. It's like, what can we get away with?
Right, what can we tell you that we're going to do and then never do it?
It's the art of the possible.
Well, you're seeing that now in politics, because the person actually in office is saying what she's going to do when she gets into office. Which is just like, you're there. This is madness. And people are like, yeah, she's going to do it. Like, she's been in there for 3 fucking years. Like, what are you talking about? This is crazy. People want to believe something. Want someone to be the person that rescues us from whatever situation we're in. And that's always been the case.
And the unfortunate thing is that it affects, Australia as much as it affects here. We have such a aggressive situation, and the media's need for new information, new stories, whatever that timeline is. You're just not going to get people of quality stepping into that world.
No, who's want to put themselves?
There's probably hundreds of potentially incredible presidents. In this country, but they're too smart to walk that way.
Yeah. Real problem. It's a real problem. It's going to get worse. And our desire and our bullshit, and to focus on what did he do when he was in high school? Right. What did she say when she was on Twitter when she was 22? Like, what? The fuck are you talking about? Like, we have to put that shit aside. Right? People are just human beings. Stop dragging out old shit just to make your party win, because it ruins the entire system.
Yeah, that is. It's just like picking a color. And walk banner of that color. He's just sticking with the color.
Yep.
It's like it's really unhealthy.
Yeah.
And walk away. It's going to be.
I don't know what your system's like, but we're completely trapped in the two-party system.
Yeah, we have this. But we have a very interesting thing that's happening in Australia at the moment, which is the rise of independence. And it's happened federally, also at a state level too, but also in city government as well, where non-party people are standing. And so now you have a situation where in the parliament, you have a group. There's, I don't know the exact numbers, 10 or 15 something independents. So, the main party has to deal with the fact that those independents are going to bring a non-party series of points to the argument. And it's working well. It's working for us in that it's making both of the main parties re-examine who they are and what they stand for.
Yeah, we can use that here for sure.
Because people are just so sick of that. Color choice.
Yeah,
they're reaching for something else.
Well, it's also people recognize that a lot of us that claim to be on one side or the other really are somewhere in the middle. But most people have opinions that are a little bit of a conglomeration of conservative and liberal perspectives, especially like liberal, socially, fiscally conservative. There's a lot of people like that. Not represented.
Not at the moment.
No, not at the moment. And in this country, it's the worst it's ever been in terms of the polarization of the two sides. You think of the other side as no matter what, that person's got to be a moron. They think differently than I do, or they support this side, I support that side, and I'm all in on my team, and they're all in. It's a tribal thing. As tribal as we have in the world, and in this country, it just doesn't work. We just get captivated by corporations because of that, and it's also the money in politics is so extraordinary, which is something that should never be allowed to happen.
Yeah, the old, those campaign fundraising situations.
Yeah,
and the amount of money they just pour into. Also, the rules around the engagement, the rules of what you can say in an ad that's negative about the other person. It's like, come on, this is ridiculous. It's like these apocalyptic 2-minute blasts that you television. It's just all bullshit. Right? If you're leaning that way, then it helps you outrage, and it helps you confirm that yes, well that's I'm against that. But when it's just a series of exaggerations and lies, it just doesn't help anybody.
Well, in this country, Kamala Harris recently got caught because the campaign was using articles. They changed the article. They changed like the titles of the article. They put out like 8 positive articles, and the fact that you can do something like that, you can persuade people to think that people are writing, and you're actually putting it out there, which is just bananas. It's just a complete manipulation of the zeitgeist.
We've got a situation in Australia where politicians are suing people for.
How you living? How you living? Excellent. I see it.
For the sake of numbers and max. Yes, I agree. It was kind of a weird venue as well. But this was in Georgia, right? During a Guinness. That's true. It wasn't like in a studio. You could have found better lighting. I mean, CNN, and you're interviewing the vice president. I think that's right. Sure, you can find a better venue.
You had a big announcement 2 weeks ago, something like that, 10 days ago. You announced something, no, it was on a Monday.
What did I?
With her eyes when he was asking her questions about the border.
I didn't understand you, but can you hear me? What's the quality of the audio?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. And I don't remember. You posted quite long. You posted something quite long in the chat.
Oh yeah. I made a.
It's obvious she's worked on that in the last.
Yeah, that's all.
Last month or several weeks.
I thought you were doing an announcement stream where you explain some stuff or something like that.
No, I don't do that.
Great job.
You made a blog where you explain all your information that you got.
That's correct.
How to make energy and whatever.
That's correct.
And you made a blog, like you made a wiki, you made it.
Yeah, basically. I'll send it to you. How's your day going? How was your day?
It was alright, but I was very sleepy the whole day, and I didn't get to do much. I planned to I had planned to work out with friends, but he didn't come. He comes tomorrow, and then I also had planned to have lunch with my sister and go rollerblading, but I was there too early, and then I went home again. And, I thought she forgot, but apparently we had scheduled another time. I turned it too early, and yeah, that's another thing that went wrong.
I gotcha. So you should have that. Yeah. And I see. Hey, shut up. You smoking this or the joint? Oh, that's you.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Big am I in the picture?
Um,
Am I inside the picture?
everything you need.
Okay. It seems a lot less than I thought. It's because I have a supplement and it doesn't zoom in a lot apparently.
It's very video call.
That's nice. Yeah, that's it doesn't take good pictures, but videos are right on the phone.
Excellent. All right,
Yeah.
did you?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. Well, you should get a lot of new people in there. Are you in the Harry Potter
Oh yes.
fantasy football game? Are you in the
Time.
fantasy football league?
No.
Okay, well, it's $50 bomb. If you want to do it. I don't know if it's still available, but ask you, Leo.
What type of American football?
Hell yeah. Football there is.
But I don't know anything about it. I just know one club, and it's called Washington Redskins.
Oh yeah, they're
I know
they're not even in that word considered effective in English.
what they call it though.
They are called Washington Commanders.
Comanches.
Commanders.
Commanders. Okay.
Commanders. Yeah. So just like if you're gonna speak English to someone, you want to avoid the term Washington.
No way, cool. That was still a team. That was 4 years ago, no?
Yes, exactly. Everything you would consider. So
Wow, that's incredible.
yeah, so we did it in this context. Washington Commanders. Their previous name is considered a controversial. It's offensive. Exactly. So for educational purposes, we're going to use the term. It's Washington Redskins. We're only exactly.
In quotation marks.
Exactly. You know, it's kind of at 5 years I bought a hat with their mascot on it, Jack. Now it's like getting sick of me. But yeah, that a bunch of games like that. Another one was the Cleveland Indians. They went to the Cleveland.
Okay, so now there's no.
I'm sorry. Cleveland. Actually, Cleveland. Apologies. Yeah. And so, right. But there are that are allowed, like the Boston Celtic is a term for someone from Ireland, and that one didn't have much.
Yeah, that is alright because they have feathers, you know.
Yeah,
They
it's
have much melanin, so it's alright.
it's that certainly, but it's also the Celtics are a huge dynasty, and it would be very difficult to change that name. Not saying they can, but they felt it was better for them to keep. And okay, somebody sat down with the Washington football team and said, "Look, you can change it, and it's going to make you X amount of money, or you could keep it, and you're going to this amount of money." And they would say, "We don't want that money, and let's keep." And people, if you keep this, team, you're going to this amount of money. Um, if you change it, you'll actually lose. So it's in your word dog. It's a big. Anyway, I just want you to not seem offensive to anyone, and you should know that, like real. I people who are real know exactly what talk about Washington football team or whatever. And that's what they were known as, Washington football team, like yeah. So sometimes they're
Look, Rabbi, there's a big, huge street here. Like,
I see that street. That's considered
it goes down all the way to the horizon, and then it turns to the left, and it comes up again on this side. Then it comes up again from there, and then it makes so it makes a turn again, and it's a big S if you were to watch from the satellite.
very
It's like
cool.
a big S.
Very cool.
There was a mine here, and all these plants that you see, they grew in the last 40 years. And before that, it was a big coal, and they extracted iron from the ground.
Oh, interesting.
Here's the street, and you can see the ground. I'll show you spots where there are no plants. The ground is very red.
I see.
The ground is iron.
Yes, it is. I see it. What are your thoughts on nuclear? How many people do you think the history of mankind have ever died from nuclear radiation from a fallout? How many globally? Big swole. I know you're there. I know you just bounced. Yo, dog.
Oh man, so hard to set the camera off.
So let's.
Maybe the whole history of the nuclear power due to the fallout, that's really hard to say, because there could be people that died of cancer 20 years later than the fallout. But let's just make an estimation.
Yes.
Let's say it's maybe 200,000.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay?
Right.
But that's almost nothing compared to all the rest. If you just extract coal from the ground, I could maybe on average they're dying like 50 people a day or something like that.
100%. Very well informed. Okay. So, in answer to your question that was posed, the amount of people who
Yes.
have died, acknowledged, meaning like you go to Wikipedia, is less than 50. So how many? Less than 50. At Chernobyl, about 30 people died from the radiation.
Yes, but that's in the direct unit of the catastrophe.
Right.
You know, I think it must have had consequences for at least 30 years or something like that. And,
Wait.
Might be increasing cancer. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. That's not the thing. You know what I'm saying? So let's.
I'm on your side completely.
Exactly. All of these things have interest, but I just want to change or perhaps tell you some figures. Remember that over the course of the last 80 years, of using nuclear power, less than 1% died per year, which is a really good statistic. You consider this is globally. I'm not talking in the United States. I'm not talking in Europe. I'm saying globally. You add up every single person who died directly due to nuclear fallout. It is less than 50 total. It's about 30 for Chernobyl. It's acknowledged to be 2 on the Fukushima Wikipedia page. Most of the people who died from Fukushima died they died because of water, not because of nuclear fallout. And then finally, the other big nuclear scare that's happened in the last 80 years is known as 3 Mile Island in the United States. And no people died from it. So in total, the top 3 biggest nuclear fallouts in global history, Chernobyl is about 30 people. We have Fukushima, which is about 2, and we have 3 Mile Island, which is 0. So that's like my opinion, a really great option. People don't know about it. So I do my best to educate people on the safety of nuclear power. It's a miracle. If you were to say, Rabbi, is a miracle in the world, like what's the closest thing that we have to modern day miracle? It would be nuclear power. The fact that we can power exactly, so I don't have to teach you anymore. And okay, another cool thing. So you were showing me the iron in the ground. There is a type of technology. It's called LiDAR, and then also ground penetrating radar, which allows you to see minerals in the ground and be able to locate them without having to use the traditional mining sense. And I'm an advocate of using LiDAR and ground penetrating radar and robotics to replace the mining industry, the human-based mining industry, particularly in the third world. I want to make it so that people don't have to mine anymore.
But yeah, you have to you don't have to use people, and just machines.
Exactly. And so people previously would have perhaps been a miner than to be able to work behind a computer and operate the machine manually, or even better, make it autonomous and just have robots.
My grandfather, he used to work over there. No, you see, but over there, there's a steel factory. I don't know, maybe you can see it from here because it's big. And also there, in the beginning, there were many people working there. And when he retired, there were only around 30 people in the whole factory. And that's also going to happen in the rest of the world.
Well, I don't want people.
A sharp decrease in manual labor,
Right. I don't want people. In my opinion, it's very dangerous, much of mining, and it's unnecessary now because we have radar that can locate exactly where the ore is on the ground, so that we no longer have to rely on guessing that it's not.
Yes, that's true. Would be simple, right? How far does this penetrate the ground?
It can do it.
What if it's immediately beneath the ground? What if it's like 2,000 meters deep?
That's 100 times. There, we've been able to locate it for 30 years, and here's why. There's something in Alaska that is called HARP, AAR. It's the high atmospheric auroral radiation, something like that. It's not an acronym, and high altitude, something like that. Anyway, what is it? It basically was big giant land, and it can pluck the earth using yes,
You like the instrument? Okay.
So it could pluck using different lights and electric current in the atmosphere. It could essentially turn the Earth to whatever it needed to be able to understand what was below ground. So basically, they turn away from a certain frequency, and the way the wavelength would reflect back, they could tell where it was on the ground, or they could tell where iron was on the ground, carbon was on the ground.
Oh, right.
It was in, they were able
Anywhere in the world.
anywhere. They got much better in recent years where they go directly to the source. And so, in answer to your question about Rabbi, how deeply and specifically ground penetration are, I'm going to say that we could perhaps be able to penetrate through the crust of the earth, like 75 miles, but I don't think that is necessarily valid. So let's see what's it valid. How deep can ground penetration radar accurately identify minerals in meters? Ground penetration, okay, 30 meters, but that's what I imagine it 300. So, and if it can put a little bit of money into the technology within a you'll get that thing penetrating kilometers deep. But here's what I'm making you aware of. I think that already they just don't make it public. There's no reason to make it public. What'd you say, Big Dog? Yes, I can.
Wait, just wait, I'm going a bit further away. I'm on my bicycle. And now, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
So, have you been anywhere on vacation in the last few weeks?
Oh, not recently. No, I streamed live for 765. So I have sacrificed.
Sometimes you leave your house, you know.
Yeah, that's
One time you went to the park. I don't know.
that's true. Yeah, yeah. I travel in the car. Do it. I have not. The reason why is I lost my data plan. It's just expensive to have it because I don't use it that much, and because I do things from my room as opposed to in the field, just had to sacrifice it. So because I don't have a data plan anymore, I don't do as much IRL.
What was the last place you visited?
Oh, great. I've streamed far north as Santa Barbara, and far south as San Diego. I've streamed Beverly Hills at Disneyland, Santa Monica Pier. I would say probably Disneyland was the last place outside of my city that I actually thought I streamed. I went to the dentist and I went to the eye doctor and I streamed that. And that was an anti, like basically. So that was not too long ago. and that's on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You outside of the States?
Yeah. I've been to Canada, and I've been.
What? Mexico.
Yes, I've been to Canada, and I've been.
That's cool.
Have you ever?
No, never. My parents, you know, I have relatives in Vermont and in New York, and my parents they have been to the States a few times, and then when they had my older siblings, they went to the States once in the 80s, 86, no, not in 86. We went in 92 or something like that, 92. And after that, they never wanted to go back anymore. I don't know why. They said that they didn't like it, and they don't want to go back to the States anymore. Never.
Okay, I can see that.
And I don't know what they don't speak about it a lot, but it's I think it's cool. There's a lot of land, a lot of empty space,
Yeah,
a lot of nature.
it has some really good stuff.
I'm practicing wheelies. That was another one.
You were practicing wheelies on
Yeah.
a bicycle.
Yes.
Very cool.
So when you stream, do you leave the room or do you stay inside the room itself the whole day?
Well, like as I said, but generally, it's much easier for me to stream in one location. It's where my wife and
Where all your where your whole channel is.
exactly, and like when I go to the field, I don't have very good vision. My eyes cataract, so if I stream outside, it's difficult for me to see my screen. A lot of times, because of the reflection of my phone. While I do, I tend to find that connectivity and obstacles like you need to ensure power and you have to make sure that your phone is protected and that you're in frame. All kinds of other things that I don't have to worry about when I stream from my room, where I know I'm always in frame in most every camera. I don't have to worry about tripod. I don't have to worry about anything, but I have created a robot that spam people on they spam people, which is like you
Yeah,
can't
stream.
exactly. And so my big um my big week is not gonna be that I do something outside. I mean the odds of that happening are pretty rare. But from the fact that I've done really cool stuff outside, no one watches. Why? You have to have like a huge footprint. You have to have a lot of followers, like originally. So but what I do, I can annoy people to the point where they come into my Discord and then they come and read my blog and they start laughing. And I do this every single day. And if I do it every single person will know about me. I'll be like I'll almost be like a meme. Like I'll be or
Yes, I totally got your plan.
exactly. Yeah. I mean I could if I could take let's just say I were able to get different cameras and stream outside, how many people are realistically watching? Not that many. I mean, maybe 5, maybe 10. I mean, it's just not a lot. Like, and let's say I went bungee jumping or skydive. Let's say I got 100 people on the street. That's great. That's not enough to influence a lot of people. But what if I have these robots? I'll show you for a moment. I'll flip my camera.
I mean, what exactly? What do you?
These are robots. Watch my.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm basically on Kick right now, and then they just move down a lot and they copy the streams on Kick, and when they're done, they move on to the next person. It's pretty simple, and you just fucking spam the shit out of people, and you'll see it's gonna follow the person, and then it's gonna spam them a whole bunch of times, and then it moves on to the next person. Pretty fucking brilliant, and then everybody knows about what I'm doing, and it's interesting. So that is a much better way for me to get it. Especially when you're able to do that too. So take for instance, this is my shit. If I'm streaming right now, very few people are watching. But if I annoy a big time streamer and they feel like how they do all the time, then all of a sudden you have 5 people watching, or 1,000 people watching, or 5,000 people watching. Then it's like a huge bang for my buck, as opposed to, hey, please do watch my stream in your free time. Somebody's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, and they never do. Instead of that, what I do is I just go to one big streamer, there's like a ton of people watching them, tell them about what I do. They become interested, and they go to my stream.
But what if they develop a method to completely block your spamming attempts?
They can.
If they mention your name or something related to you, they could just ban it and develop a smart recognition technology that that just recognizes when it's something related to you and then deletes it.
Okay. Some have developed some things where you can't use the word bad, some other things. That's fine. I've developed a robot that also create a clip of someone's stream, which basically is a 30 to 60 second clip of their stream archives on their page, and I'm able to name that clip anything I want. And so I named it Rabbi Rothschild, and I put it in the Discord in there, and they cannot do that. So basically, every time I do that, it's another spam, and the only way they can get it is by manually deleting it. And they can't have their moderators. They have to manually.
Okay.
So that's what I do.
Can you still see me doing wheelies?
Do one. Yes, I can. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sure.
How is your?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm wearing Bluetooth headphones.
That's why.
They're not bad.
Oh, really? They're really.
Oh. And they also have quite some range. I'm like 60 feet away, 50 feet away.
Right.
You can still hear me.
Exactly. Remember? Come over here. That's why you. Oh, the person with whom I'm having a conversation on the camera, and this person in the video far away didn't realize we were talking to each other. Do you like doing?
Yes, but I'm not good. I've practiced 2 times, only 2 times before. So it's my 3rd time practicing meetings, and I learned to do them, but only times in a place like this. I can't practice them on the street. It's too dangerous. And there are absolutely no people here.
I got you. Yeah. Well, I understand.
I usually take walks here. And there's a lot of cool paths here. Let's see if the cliffs are closed. I think they're not that far away.
GB,
Yo.
yo, Pim, are you? Well,
There's just a few rocks here.
I understand. That's okay. But you knew about it. Excellent. All right. Well, you can live that area.
To a mine pretty close.
Let's go to it. Let's go to it. Well, GB, you can live vicariously through my terrible ownership decisions on my business. But I'm not saying I'm saying that I'm kidding. But nah. Here's the thing. I have nothing to do but fucking study these things for the entirety of the and we'll just see. I know I did like half the groups that I was in this year. So we'll see if I do it. This one will this is the first time I've ever done it. So that's a lot.
Yeah, I heard this name the other day. It was a guy who's like the best gambler in the world, sports gambling. He just has like down to heart, and he has like a podcast or something. I wish I remember his name, but he's like right every year.
Don't tell me. Tell me.
No, he's somewhat famous guy for his sports.
I got you. Big Swole. He was doing wheelies and then and then go get your flashlight. Go get your flashlight. So we're gonna go to an entrance of an iron mine. GB, I got a question for you. Hot plate. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. How many people hopefully do you think now have ever died due to nuclear fallout from the nuclear power industry?
Probably like 20.
Excellent. Excellent guess. About 50 or less than 50. It's about less than 50. So that means in the 80 years of the nuclear power industry globally, we've lost less than one person. Really good success. Considering like the industry, natural gas industry, a lot of these fossil fuel industries are very dangerous, cause all kinds of pollution, cause all kinds of excellent sounds good. They cause all kinds of and yet when you look at the opportunities in energy, hardly anybody dies from it. It's almost unlimited energy. It's just the way to go in life. Oh, I was saying that in my day,
Oh, it really is. I can't wait till we figure out cold fusion, dude. We should be putting all our energy into that.
word dog. 30 years ago, I just think it's
Oh, yeah, it definitely is better.
No.
oh, you dropped your phone.
Yes. Okay. Oh, I have to go to the other side.
This is a form. This is a form of iron.
I lost the lamp.
Oh no, you gotta find your. Oh, I saw it. What or something.
Yeah, the fence is a bit high. It's difficult to climb it.
Yeah, don't do anything that gets you in trouble.
You know what? If I do it, I'm gonna do it right.
All right, dog.
Like,
Hey, dog. I got you.
was trying to see if I could stream on PC, man.
Wow, this is we're like on his bike. My man.
Yeah, I just nobody here at night. The way, and even if there were people here at night, they are native Luxembourgish people and they don't steal. They're really nice, respectful.
Shout out to Lux.
She's here. Please worry. It doesn't matter how old you are. I tell my kids, I don't, if I'm still alive, they're 50, 60, I'm still going to worry. Yeah, I bet you're a great I tried. All right, coming up next, monkeys use names to communicate with each other. How do we know that's real? I know. Speaks monkey. Who speaks monkey? Oh, they have a language. This is like what happened. And it translates. So many questions. Gary and Chan will continue. Layla Muhammad is in and Deborah is next. Ukrainian President Zelensky has fired the commander of the country's Air Force after one of its Western-donated F-16 warplane crashed and the pilot died. Vice President Harris says she has no regrets.
Can you hear me, guys?
I can.
I'm just on my PC now.
Support of Biden against claims he was not mentally fit to run for a second term. And millions of Americans are planning one last summer getaway over this long Labor Day.
Bitcoin beautiful dog.
San Francisco, New York, Boston, Denver are among the top destinations internationally. People are going to Paris, Rome, Barcelona, and Dublin. Southland weather from KFI, sunny, high 70s to around 100. This report brought to you by Dublin Power Services from the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center. Let's go places.
We drifted in here. I made a proto van in this game. Some stickers on it.
That's ball. Do we have any or anyone? Yo, is anybody welcome. How you living? What's good? Can you hear? Welcome to my Discord.
Let's go.
LFG.
Okay, I'm over the fence.
No way. All right, dog. Get us to. Oh no way! Wow, it just goes right to the ground, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So would the guys just climb in there like that back in the day? Is that iron?
There's another larger room. Yeah.
So you could just like
Go in further because it's dark and
yeah, I understand. We don't want you to iron. I get it. Is that iron there that you can grab?
yeah, the road is red because it contains a lot of iron.
Right. What's the white silver? What's in the mine? What's the silver?
That's what?
What is that silver in the mine?
The white stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's just minerals collecting there because the water goes down.
I see. I see.
It has there it's exposed.
Yes.
The drops of water will come out and that's what that's.
It's like calcium.
I think I'm not sure. Yeah, it's probably something like that.
I got you. Very cool. So is that it's a mine? Is it a cave as well, or just a mine?
It's a mine and it's also a cave.
Oh, very, very.
I think they extracted in the beginning. There was probably just something like this cave. I don't know the concept because there's a street above, and I'm pretty sure that all around here you see we are below the horizon.
Yes.
Because they took away the ground from the top 30 meters, and then they made like floors like this, and we are on the last. There are 2 more floors down there, and they extracted it from above the ground here, and but there are also mines on this side. On the other side of that mountain, there's a big underground system of caves and also of mines, and also that way.
Well, I'm gonna figure out when you're on the other side. So get on the other side, and then we'll finish it.
Yeah, also.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I forgot my watch.
Make sure you have all of your stuff, your lens, your watch, your phone. So check all that shit, your flashlight, check all that shit before you climb over, and then check it immediately after you climb over.
Yeah.
Because that stuff can fall out of your pocket.
The lens and all the rest is already on the other side.
Dude, it's starting to get dark. You need to get back to your bike.
So is my stream pretty choppy?
I'll tell you in a moment.
Yeah, here we get driving.
Okay.
Crash.
It is it's choppy, but it's not unbearable.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, just curious. Oh, I could close like a couple laps and it'd be better.
Have you heard from Squirrely, GB?
What?
Have you heard from Squirrely recently? Squirrely?
Oh, yeah, I haven't heard of him recently.
Have you heard from?
Yeah, he's hanging out in the mobile chat. He was here like a couple days ago in the chat.
Excellent. Okay, Big Swole. I see you got your bike. You have all your stuff. Do you have your phone? Yes. Do you have your flashlight? Do you have your wallet? Do you have your lens?
Yeah.
Excellent. And do you have whatever else you have? Okay, excellent. Then get on your bike. Home. Well, I just see how dark. Dude, we were just doing wheelies like 15 minutes ago when you came, and now it's like very dark.
Yes, it gets dark here. From August on, it gets dark here very, very fast.
Very, very. How far you get
Maybe minutes. You see,
excellent. Good. Hell yeah. Baby, you was Baby, you was strong. You make me want to ride my days down and cruise. Watch out. Nice maneuver.
Thank you. And this is some kind of storage, auto storage for stuff from the city services. Now I'm in well, what's this called? It's a darker part of the course. Yeah. Okay, I can't do this part with my hand.
I'm watching.
Now in a few minutes I mean,
Tight. I feel safe. Is Luxembourg safe?
oh yeah, absolutely. Not as it used to be, but 50 years ago it was a lot more dangerous, and 30 years ago also. There was some type of golden age, like 20 years ago to 10 years ago, where it was very safe, but now it's different. I go for a walk every night, and I encounter I have negative encounters almost every night with homeless people. Most of the time it's Africans or Arabs and stuff like that. And sometimes they group. I saw one time, that was like 2 months ago, there was a group of Africans that were walking in front of me, and they were like, also they were extremely loud, you can imagine. They just screamed, but in a very aggressive way also. And what they also did was they threw around bottles, and they made like this noise all the time. They make this noise all the time. And then there was a group of, let's say, 15 to 17-year-old girls. They were not quite 18, and they were walking there. Then one of the men stopped one of the girls, the one with the smoking, grabbed her boobs, and then the girls they ran away. And the Africans they were even more aggressive afterwards. And when they were walking, when they kept walking, they were speaking French. I didn't understand what's like this. I said, what the English thing I understand was I'm going to kill her, you know. And stuff like that. They were talking about coffee and tea and stuff like that. That means meat and food. And so they were possibly really discussing that. And so a while ago, I was talking about joking. I was joking what we call the street. That was also really shocking. I didn't stop. I was going to call the police. And then only when I said the word police, he stopped joking off. Before that, he was looking at me confused and still touching his dick like in a timid, shy way. He was still touching the dick and moving his hands. But like in a boy, you know, he's not that comfortable anymore. But then he was still doing it. And only when I said the word police, he stopped and ran away.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why.
That's, you know, that I have for all that, I have to look over people asking for money and cigarettes. Even though you see them every day, you can tell them every day that you but it's still very, it's still very safe. It's not really obvious. If you're a woman or a weak guy or a knowledge person, then I'd say probably it's not safe anymore. It's still really nice.
It's still alright.
Yeah. And now I'm almost home.
Told you about this disabled SUV pulling a boat and it is blocking the carpool lane. With Southern California's only airborne traffic sign Jimmy Harvin.
Crazy.
Kickoff is almost here, and iHeart is the official home of the NFL Podcast Network, featuring podcasts like NFL Daily with Rabbi Rothschild. Hacking it with so much good and tons of fantasy football podcasts with expert advice for you to win your fantasy league. It's the best part of the season. Your team is undefeated. Anything is possible. Take the iHeart Radio app and the NFL with you right in your pocket. Open the free iHeart app, search NFL, and start listening now. Summer's here. You can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. Almost. You can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? It's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, no. A hot stand? Happily yes. A day in sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Not all in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details. The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
What is it that you thought your brother did for a living in those years?
Well, I knew that he was, for the most part, I had the feeling that he was in the business of gaming and...
That is William Michael Bulger, or Billy, as he's usually called. His 18-year reign as president of the Massachusetts Senate is still, to this day, the longest tenure in history. Once his historic run was finished, he became the president of the University of Massachusetts. He has also received his Doctor of Jurisprudence from Boston College Law School, and he has more than 20 honorary degrees from a wide variety of esteemed institutions. And despite all of these accomplishments and accolades, what William Michael Bulger will most likely be remembered for is something that was largely out of his control. It is the one thing in life that is out of everyone's control. Family. That is James Bulger. You may know him better as Whitey. Billy's story would never be complete without Whitey, and vice versa. But there are more people involved than just the two brothers from the Old Harbor Village Housing Project in South Boston. To To examine the lives of the Bulger brothers, one must examine the brutal deaths of 19 relatively unknown souls. This is a story about evil incarnate. This is Dirty Rats.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts all in one.
Sit on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, sports, talk, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Layla Muhammad in with me today. Hey, don't forget to hit us up on the Talkback feature on that iHeartRadio app about what you learned this week on the Gary and Shannon show. We will play back all of the things you've learned right before we hit up our 9 news nuggets you need to know. Got some entertainment news headed for you, and in that vein, longtime TV actress Betty Bridges has died, 83 years old. She was the one on Good Times. She played Charlene. Her son is Todd Bridges. She was also on ER, Two Broke Girls, Lou Grant, and Hill Street Blues. She died actually at Todd Bridges' home, but 83 years old. What else is going on?
Time for What's Happening.
Labor Day weekend, of course, the unofficial end of summer. Millions of people are hitting the road.
But how scientific it is, I don't think it's a place where we have really vigorous debates. You know, maybe the climate is increasing because of carbon dioxide emissions, temperatures are going up. Maybe it's methane. Maybe it's people eating too much steak, the cows flatulating, and you have to measure how much is methane greenhouse gas versus carbon dioxide. I don't think they're rigorously doing that stuff scientifically. I think the fact that it's called climate science tells you that it's more dogmatic than anything that's truly science should be. Why isn't it dogmatic? It's wrong, but
why is the fact that it's called climate science mean that it's more dogmatic? Because you said nuclear science, you wouldn't question it, right?
Yeah, but no one calls it nuclear science. They call it nuclear engineering. Because I'm just the only thing is I'm just making a narrow science
that is legitimately science.
Well, people say computer science is work.
Right.
In the 1980s, all I'm saying is it's in the same categories. Let's say social science, political science. It was a tell that the people doing it kind of deep down knew they weren't doing real science.
Well, there's certainly ideology that's connected to climate science, and then there's certainly corporations that are invested in this prospect of green energy and the concept of green energy, and they're profiting from it and pushing these different things, whether it be electric car mandate or whatever it is. California, I think it's 2035. They have a mandate that all new vehicles have to be electric, which is hilarious. You have to grid, they can't support the electric cars. After they said that, within a month or two, Gavin Newsom asked people to not charge their Teslas because it was summer and the grid was fucked.
Yeah, look, it was all linked to all these ideological projects in all these ways, and there's an environmental approach, which is and maybe it should be scientific. The hardcore environmentalist argument is we only have one planet, and we don't have time to do science. If we have to do rigorous science, you can prove that we're overheating, it'll be too late. And with hardcore environmentalists, you want to have high standard science. Yeah, my certainly when you go away from the kind of things that are too dogmatic, too ideological, maybe it doesn't work. Even if the planet's getting warmer, maybe it's not like my maybe methane is worse. Is it more dangerous? Greenhouse gas, carbon dioxide. We're not even measuring.
Well, we're ignoring certain things like regenerative farms that sequester carbon. and then you get people like Bill Gates saying that planting trees to deal with carbon is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous way to do it. Like, how is that ridiculous? They literally turn carbon dioxide into oxygen. It is their food. Their food. That's what the food plants is. That's what powers the whole plant life. The way we have this symbiotic relationship with them. Like, and the more carbon dioxide is, the greener it is. Which is why it's greener today on Earth than has been in 100 years. Sure, these are all facts that are inconvenient to people that have a very specific knowledge of how to approach this. Sure, although there are ways to still man the other side too, where maybe the original 1970s, I think the manifesto was always very interesting. The other side was this book by the Club of Rome, 1972, The Limits of Growth. And we need to head towards a society where there's 0%, there's very